Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to share the 13 keys that I've used to create the perfect brisket. So let's get started. Alright guys, first key is starting out with a quality brisket. If you want a phenomenal brisket, you got to start out with a phenomenal piece of meat. If you're going to smoke a brisket, spend all the time trimming it and smoking it for 12 hours and resting it for another 12 hours. Might as well go start with a quality piece of meat. This brisket I'm using today is from Mr. Brisket in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. I would definitely check them out. I'll put a link in the description. I know they ship all across the US, and I think they do some international as well. But yeah, you want to start with a quality brisket, something that has a lot of marbling. I would say prime Wagyu, or if you can find a good choice that has a lot of marbling, that works too. But yeah, key one. Got to start with a good brisket if you want a great brisket or a good result. So let's get this thing open and we'll start trimming. Okay guys, second key is we need to trim this guy up. Now we're doing a backyard trim. It's not going to be anything crazy. The main goal of this trim is to get off any excess fat. I want to even this thing out so it's all relatively the same thickness as much as possible. We're going to trim the fat cap a little bit, and then we're just going to shape it so it's more aerodynamic. So let's get this started. Okay guys, got this where I want it. This is a backyard trim, so nothing crazy. Got off most of the excess fat. It's shaped as best as I can. It's pretty even on all sides. So takes us to key number 3 is seasoning. Now, the big key for me I've always used is this pepper. So I've used I go heavy salt and pepper. Now, I am a big believer, if you want phenomenal bark, you have to use a lot of pepper. A lot of people are throwing on a lot of rubs with sugar and things with a little bit of pepper. I'm saying I've had great results with just doing a lot heavy pepper and salt. I'm gonna throw a little bit of this Cosmo cow cover on a little bit, just to add a little bit extra flavor. But majority here, heavy pepper if you want phenomenal bark. I'm telling you, if you're struggling with any bark on any smoker, even a pellet smoker, just load it up with pepper and you're gonna have the best bark you've ever had. So let's start. We're gonna start with the seasoning on the meat side because we're gonna smoke it on the fat side up. So we want the fat side to be our presentation side. So we'll season that second. So let's start off with, I start off usually seasoning with the sides, and then I kind of just work up to the meat side, and then we'll do the fat side next. Okay, this is seasoned up. As you can see, a lot of pepper on here. So I'm gonna let this sit overnight, and then we'll pull it out in the morning and get it on the smoker. So we'll see you tomorrow. Hey, good morning guys. So I got the mill scale. I'm smoking on a mill scale 94 gallon offset smoker. These keys that I'm going to talk about, have been talking about, can be applied to any smoker, whether it's a Traeger, master build. But yeah, I'm going to get right into it. So key number 4, starting to cook at a low temp. So I'm going to be cooking this thing for the first several hours at like 185, 225. Again, this is not a sprint. You know, if you're going to cook a brisket, you might as well take the extra time, do it right, low and slow, give those collagen and the fat more time to render. But yeah, I'm going to be cooking this at a low temp for several hours, and then we're just going to slowly bump it up. At the end, we'll probably get into the 300s, but we're going to be starting out low. Give it time to absorb the smoke. And again, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. So let's get to it. Okay, guys. Tips 5 and 6. I like putting on the briskets on the smoker as cold as possible. So I'll get the smoker up to temp, 185 to 200, and then I'll go grab it from the fridge, come right and immediately put it on the smoker. This is just going to give more time to absorb smoke. So when you hit like 150 degrees, it's not going to really absorb too much more smoke. So I like to give it more time just for, I like it being super smoky, but if you don't like it super smoky, then I guess you could pull it out at room temperature. But again, this is going to definitely add a little bit more time to cook, but this isn't, again, if you're going to do a brisket, I feel, and you're going to spend the money on it, might as well do it right. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit more time, but we're after a phenomenal brisket. And this is just a key that I've been using, and I feel like it's always yielded pretty good results. Tip 6, put smoke it fat side up. On the fat cap, you're going to be able to build a much better bark than if you laid the fat side down. It's all going to be just a mess when you pull it off. So smoke it fat side up. Okay guys, key number 7 is wood. So make sure you're picking something that has a pretty bold flavor. I tend to stay away from cherry and apple just because it's a very light smoke. Today I'm smoking with hickory. Hickory's good, oak's good, mesquite's good. Just pick something that has got a bold flavor. Okay guys, we've been smoking this brisket at around 200 to 225 for the last 5 hours. So let's take a look and see what we got. Okay, so the bark is starting to set pretty good. What you're looking for in the bark is you want it to, once you know it's done, you won't be able to scrape anything off. So right now, I can tell it's a little bit loose. The pepper's a little loose, but it's getting there. It's getting firm, which is what we're looking for. Let's probe it and see what temperature we're at. We're just 145, 147. So we got some time. Now, if you want, you could spritz this thing with water, apple cider vinegar, whiskey. I'm just gonna let it keep going, and we'll check back in another hour or so. I'll probably bump up the temperature past 250 at this point. Okay, guys. So this takes me to key number 8: is don't rush the cook. This thing's still in the 140s. That's okay. Again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. I'm going to bump the temperature up we're going to start bumping it up a little bit now. So we're going to start in these 250 to 275 range until we wrap. Probably going to be a few more hours. We're going to be probably wrapping in 170s or 180s. But I'm going to keep on smoking, and we'll check back in a few hours. So stay tuned. Okay guys, it's been about 9.5 hours. I think it's ready to wrap, so let's check it out. Okay guys, this is what we're looking like right now. The bark's looking really good. I don't know if it's showing through on the camera, but bark is looking super nice, super dark. Definitely set. I believe we were probing in the 170s. So we're gonna pull this guy off, and we're gonna wrap it. Okay guys, this takes me to key number 9, wrapping in butcher paper. I've just had the best success with butcher paper. I've tried foil, tried not wrapping it at all. I tried the foil boat. I always go back to paper. It seems like it always produces the best results. So let me get some gloves on. We'll pull this guy off, wrap it, and throw it in the smoker. Okay guys, brisket is wrapped back and it's back on the smoker. So now for key number 10. After I wrap the brisket, I like to bump up the temperature of the smoker to 320 to 350. I just always felt this is just a good way to just render out the remaining fat and just finish the cook off. So stay tuned. Okay guys, it's been 12 hours, so that takes me to key number 11 is probing for tenderness, not temperature. Y'all, I hear people saying, you know, take briskets to 203 or some exact number, but I've had briskets finished at 198 degrees, I've had briskets finished at 207. So let's take a look at this and see what we're probing. Okay, so let's see what we're probing here. Pretty sure it's done. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for it to be super smooth, super tender, no resistance. So we're probing, this one's 196, but we're probing with 0 resistance. So I call that done. 204, everything is no resistance. So I consider this done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull it off. Okay, so I'm going to pull this thing off and we're going to go rest it. So that takes us to key number 12, is resting your brisket. So I have a link in the description on how I rest briskets. We're going to rest this thing overnight for about 12 to 16 hours before we cut it. So make sure to check that video out. But I'm going to get this thing off and we'll see you in the morning. Hey guys, it's been about 12 hours we've been resting this brisket for. So now it's time for the final key, and that is slicing. So if you're not aware, there are actually 2 muscles that are on a brisket. You have the flat that runs completely on the bottom, and then you have the point that runs on top of it. I'll put a diagram up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But the grain runs different on the flat versus the point. So you want to cut against the grain whenever you're cutting a brisket. This is going to be critical for a juicy bite. If you don't cut against the grain, you cut with the grain, it's going to be a very chewy bite. It's not going to be very juicy, and it's probably not going to taste too good. So it's very critical you get this right. You put all the time into this. You want to make sure you're slicing against the grain. But I'm going to open this thing up. We're going to start slicing it, and I'll show you what I mean. All right, guys, brisket's looking great. Like I showed in the picture earlier, there's the flat and then there's the point. The flat grain runs this way. So we're gonna cut slices, pencil thin slices all the way like this until we get to the point. And then when we get to the point, I'll show you what we're gonna do then. So let's get to slicing. Okay guys, so you can see the point. There's the 2 muscles. You have the flat and then you have the point on top. So you can see the grain runs a little bit different. But I am going to turn it and then make a few slices this way. So since the grain's running the other way, the other direction, I'm going to turn it and then start making a little bit bigger slices this way. Alright guys, everything turned out great. Bark is great, tastes great. Flat, super tender, falling apart. Point, juicy as always. Can't beat this. Try these steps out guys and let me know what you think. We'll see you in the next video.